Let's get started. So first, actually, let me stop sharing. Just want to introduce myself for those of you that don't know me. My name is Maureen. I'm the founder and creator of BarMD. We're a full service bar prep company. So like anything you need related to the bar exam, we can probably help you out. And I'm going to talk about some of the resources that we have tonight, but like I really just want to provide, we're getting into January. People are always like, where should I be? And I want to just provide some guidance on where you should be, what you should be doing, etc. So that's what we're going to talk about, all three components of the exam. Somebody asked me in the chat, what are common mistakes second time takers make? And I want to just answer that at the outset because I think it's a really good question. I actually I have a podcast. It's just called the BarMD podcast. It's on Spotify. I haven't updated it in a while. I fully intend to at some point when I have some breathing room. But the third episode that I did talks about second time takers or repeaters mistakes. And generally speaking, there's a couple of things. One, people will look at their scores and they'll say, oh, okay, so I just need to bring up my writing a little bit, but my MBEs are okay. So they'll sort of de-emphasize their MBEs and focus on the writing, or vice versa. One will come up, the other one will drop, and they still fail. So that's number one. Like, don't do that. You still have to sort of treat it like you're taking it for the first time. Give it even shrift of like, don't short shrift anything. So pay, equal attention to all the components, not maybe equal, but pretty close. The other thing is people just are afraid to do this stuff. They're afraid to write essays. They don't want to do MBEs, and you've got to do it closed note and timed. So I talk about that a lot. Whoa, talk about that a lot in my classes and just in general. So that's another thing. Third, I would say is you need to, and I'm going to talk about this, you need to start working on your memorization every day now. So like this is when you start to add in 30 minutes to an hour of memorization. So that's one of my tips for today. And if you're on a study schedule and you're falling behind, happens a lot. What you should do is you should still like stay with what's assigned for today. So stay with what's assigned for today and stay on task for today, and then stay on task the next day and the next day. And each day that goes forward, try to add on a little bit from what you missed before. So that's what you want to do. Some of these questions that people are asking me are a little too specific and I can't really get into on this. So let me get into the PowerPoint. I think this will answer some of the questions too. So I'm going to talk about where you should be, how to get to where you need to be, and then some effective study tools to help you. So memorization. So doing a little bit of memorization every day, 30 hours to 1 hour at a minimum. So if you're working, then you're going to probably just do 30 minutes a day. If you're not working, you should be doing 1 to 2 hours. Memorizing can be done in a variety of different ways. It can be through flashcards. It is through you are memorizing when you are writing essays. If you want to know, like, if you're like, well, I don't know enough to write an essay at this point, listen to that podcast episode. I think it's the third one that I released. So just go back, listen to that, because I give you an exact strategy to do. So go back and listen to that. But flashcards, writing stuff out over and over. Every time I did an essay and I didn't know a particular rule, like I didn't know the rules for PJ, I would have a list of all the issues I didn't know. And then every day I would try to write those issues a little bit I would try to write them out from memory. So I just have one long running list. And then every day I'm attacking part of that list and working on it. So also writing your essays is memorizing, doing flashcards, doing something active. Reading outlines, that's not memorization. So don't do that. Do something active where you have to force the recall. So you should be doing just a little bit of that every day. If you're in my essay class and you have my subject issue checklist that I give you, practice writing those out every day. So just doing stuff like that is helpful. Writing essays. So where should you be? What do you need to do? So you should have ideally, if you have been studying for a while, if you're on like the 2-month schedule, it's a little bit different. But in California, so you should ideally have reviewed all of the MBE subjects by now, or you are just about done. I know a lot of people on mine are finishing up con law. In California, ideally, you will have also looked at by now PR and remedies. So you might just have left like business associations, wills and trust, community property. In UBE, if you're a UBE taker, we want you to have reviewed all the MBE subjects and ideally family law and secure transactions because those are just tested so frequently. But aim to finish your review of all subjects. If you started like November, December, aim to finish your review of all subjects by the end of January so that you have all of February to really hit the practice hard. And you should be practicing now. If you're someone that is just getting started, maybe you started like at the end of December or beginning of January, then you're going to probably finish your review by mid-February or a little sooner, like February 10th. So that's what we're aiming for. All of your essay practice should be closed note and timed. It should all be closed note and timed. Each day, if you're a full-time studier, i.e. you are not working, you should be doing 2 essays a day and 2 different subjects. So 2 essays per day, 2 different subjects. If you are working, you're doing 1 essay a day fully written, and you're trying to spot an additional essay and do those again in 2 different subjects. I have a schedule that that we can include that I'll send out in the email also if you don't have my daily study schedule. And yeah, this is applicable for attorney takers and people that are taking the full exam. Yeah. All right. For attorney takers, you can ignore the MBE stuff. If you're uncomfortable with essays, one, which is not written on here, we have our bar essay checkups that start tomorrow. So these are live sessions that we proctor. So Lindy and I will be on actually for it a little bit tomorrow too, but we proctor the session. So we give you all of the materials. So we're going to give you either for California, we're going to give you a Civ Pro, a torts, and a contracts essay. For UBE, you're going to get 2 of each of those. So 2 Civ Pro, 2 torts, 2 contracts. And you're going to have the time that you get to write them. So for California, where you're doing it remote, it's going to be an hour for the first one, 5-minute break, hour for the second one, 5-minute break, hour for the third. So you're going to do all of those. And we are proctoring them. And then you're going to take a little break, and then we're going to actually do a review. So Kevin, who works with me, is really good, has been teaching bar stuff for a long time. He will be doing that session tomorrow, leading the review. NG, you can find the link to the podcast 3. If you just go to BarMD podcast and scroll down, it's there. Sorry, we just have so much going on. I don't want to have to remember to do that. I promise you, it's easy to find. So the bar essay checkups start tomorrow. And if you are someone that gets accommodations with your times, you will be getting a schedule from the Cal Bar for you. I'm going to put the link to the essay checkups in the chat. I really encourage you to do these. It's really, really good forced practice. Give me 1 second. Yeah, there. And we have 7 of them. There's 5 that are for the essays and 2 that are for the PTs. We also have, it's not too late if you're not in my courses, our Mastering the Essays course is really helpful. It's not too late to start that. It's not going to overwhelm you. We also have our bar essay books. So we have one for the UBE, one for California. For digital access, which you could access almost immediately, it's $149. And this is templates for how to write pretty much any issue on the bar exam. We also have some stuff. I have a YouTube channel as well. So with a bunch of free videos, there's also a members section where there's some stuff that you can't get. That's like, we have a members section as well, but there's a lot on YouTube. We also have, if you want to make sure that you are practicing essays and that you're not just grabbing, a comma essay, but you're doing all the different topics, we have SARX, which I can show y'all. It's a database of nearly all of the prior bar exam fact patterns and the performance tests. So this is what it looks like. And there's a California one and there's one for the UBE. So all of the subjects here are listed. And so you can grab essays. So let's say you want to do a comma essay. You click on it, click on comma. And the thing that is unique about this is that we have here on the left all of the issues that come up within comma. So let's say you want to make sure you know how to do a Commerce Clause essay. You click on that, and here's Commerce Clause. And then when you click on the essay, it's here. You have the 2 selected answers, and you have, for the UBE, you have the analysis sheet. For California, we have an issue checklist. Which tells you what issues at a minimum did you need to address to pass. So people really, really like this. It's a really great essay practice tool. Yeah, so I'll give you guys the link to this and you can check it out. It's right here. And you just have to indicate if you're UBE or California. There's also the PTs are in there. There's the link to that. And then I also didn't put the link to the checkups in the right spot. Here's the link if you want to do all of the checkups, which start tomorrow. And they start at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. But just get started with your practice. That's the biggest thing. And this is, the SARX is a separate product. Nadine, the links for the checkups aren't in the daily study schedule. You have to actually go to the checkup, little portal. Sorry. And the bar checkups are recorded for you to watch back later. Sorry, my dog is barking. Archie, stop. He's here cheering you guys on. Let's talk about PTs. I want you to have written a total of at least 8 PTs. So have written a total of at least 8 performance tests. Sorry, this is a little bit imprecise. Let me just fix one thing. Yeah, if you don't have to be live for the checkup if you're not available, the recording will function the same way. Yeah, absolutely. All right, PTs. Aim to have having written 8 total. Make sure that you have written all of the different types of PT. So a memo, which is objective, a letter to a client, which is objective, a brief, which is persuasive, which can also be called a memorandum of points and authorities. So don't get that confused with a regular memo. So a brief, a letter to opposing counsel is persuasive, and a closing argument is persuasive. Also, if you're not comfortable with the PTs, it's not too late to do the Mastering the PT class either. So just throwing that out there. And we also have our PT book. For the California edition, it's $99 digital, $139 printed. For the MPT, it's $99. We don't have it printed yet. And I also have a bunch of YouTube videos, so you can definitely check those out. And you should have done 8 PTs by the exam day, not now. So if you haven't done any yet, start doing them now and do at least 1 a week. If you're uncomfortable with the PTs, I would do more. In the essay checkups, you can buy them 1 at a time, or we have it so you can add all 7 and it'll total it all up. Yeah. MBEs. Your goal is you want to have done approximately 2,000 questions before the bar, 2,000 to 2,500, somewhere in between there. So you need to look at how many questions have you done so far. So, if you've done 500 and you need to do 1,500 more, how many questions a day do you need to do to get to 2,000? And that's your plan. And, you should calculate it as having 1 day off. So 6 days a week, how many do you need to do a day? And you want to make sure that you are doing the most with every MBE. I have some videos on my YouTube talking about MBEs. You should definitely check that out if you haven't watched it. And this is a little bit off. Hold on 1 second. If you're uncomfortable with the MBE, you should definitely check out, just to go back, you want to do about 2,000 questions before the bar for the MBE. And how many you need to do a day varies for each person depending on how many you have done so far. So you need to calculate, look at how many you have done, subtract that from 2,000 and say, how many do you need to do to get to 2,000? Somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500. And you want to really go deeply into every single MBE. So when you're doing your review, make sure that you understand all 4 answer options and why the 3 that are incorrect are incorrect. I know that like AdaptBar has 1,600 questions, UWorld has 1,800 questions. I am aware of that. You're going to repeat some questions, and that's okay. And a really good resource is a book called Federal Civil Procedure for the MBE. I generally say that for civil procedure, there's only about 80 real questions that exist in CivPro because it was only added to the bar in February 2014, or February 2015 rather. So it hasn't been around as long as all of the other subjects. So you want to have just a diversity of resources because most of the questions you're practicing on are not real questions. And they haven't been as thoroughly vetted as the real questions. So given that, this is a book that I really encourage people to get. And I would get the hard copy if possible. There is a Kindle version. Lena, I gave suggestions on memorization in the very beginning. So you want to just go back and listen to that part. And if you're uncomfortable with the MBE, my MBE book is, I think, really helpful. I break stuff down for you. There's 410 questions in it. And then I have a class called MBE Minutia where I give tips and strategies for every single subject. And we walk you through, show you how to apply the strategies, how to effectively break down the questions. Last point, which people are just asking me about in the chat, but I'm going to talk about it. You need to start working on endurance now. So you need to start working on endurance now. And yes, people put this in the chat to ask, is this the correct book? Oh, thanks, Eva. Yes, this is the correct book. And Eva's talking about my book that she loves. Thank you. So you want to start thinking about endurance now. This is why part of the reason I'm doing this workshop today is because I want to talk about you need to be writing essays and PTs starting now if you haven't been doing it. Hopefully you have, but start now. You want to do at least 1 set of 50 MBE questions each week for the first 3 weeks of January. So like I would do a set of 50 tomorrow. I would do a set of 50 next Saturday. So I would do, everybody write this down. I would do 1 set of 50 of all topics tomorrow on Sunday the 5th. I would do at least 1 set of 50 on the 11th. And I would do at least 1 set of 50 on the 18th. On the 25th, you should do 100 questions. So if you're UBE, 100 straight through. If you're California, 2 sets of 50. And you are going to do a full mock exam the first weekend of February. So February 1st, 2nd. So that means on the Sunday, you should be doing 200 questions. Yeah, the Federal Civil Procedure book is not one of my books. It's another manufacturer, another person wrote it. I have an MBE book too, but it's not Civ Pro specific. Also, just throwing it out there, we offer a fully administered, you do it on your own, and then we grade it. We have a full mock exam for the UBE and for California that is fully graded by us. So that's something that we do offer and we'll email about too. But that's also an option. Here's a picture of Archie to calm you guys down, a little bit of dog therapy. So that's my little guy who was barking a minute ago. If you're feeling burnt out, right? Like it's just holidays and it's the reason I do this workshop early in January too, the reason I talk about it is because it's just, people start to freak out in January, like, oh my God, I have 2 months, right? It's still a lot of time. I'm going to talk about this too. But take a break now if you need to. So take a break now and take at least one evening off each week. So I'm like, you can take a full day off each week. That's okay. But if you're working in particular, you're going to take one evening off each week, not a full day. Like you're not getting a weekend day, but like you're getting a day off. Like when you are working, like I generally say, if you're working, take Fridays off from studying. Make sure that you plan to take the Monday before the bar off. And also it can be really helpful to plan something to look forward to after the bar. So if you're feeling burnt out, you need to think about it now. And it's okay to take a break right now. It's okay to take a day off right now. That's okay. Or hopefully you just had some. But on a positive note, there is still a ton of time. Like you still do have hours each day to study. And the one thing I like to remind people of in these workshops is remember how much more you know now than you did a month ago. It's hopefully a lot more. And like every day you're learning a lot. And like that's what the point is. So you have to think about how much more, like, tell me in the chat, how much more, do you know now than you knew a month ago? Is it a lot or 2 months ago? It's a lot, so much more. And you're going to do that from a month ago. You're going to do that twice more. And you're going to be able to, you're not spending as much time doing review, hopefully. So you're going to be able to do much more practice going on. So I know that it's overwhelming. People get to stress, people get stressed quite a bit, but I just like people to keep this in mind. So on a positive note, also on a little positive note, y'all are here live. So I'm giving you this code for 10% off. I'm going to make it of $199 and up. So it's this code, get it 10. I'll type it in the chat. So there's the code. I will make it let me see, for $199, just in case you guys want to buy SARX. I know there's a bunch of questions. I will go through these. I don't know yet where y'all are sitting for the exam in California. Sorry. How many MBEs a day you should do? That I answered. Generally, how many essays should you have done in total before the exam? I like everybody in California. I like everybody to have done at least 5 essays in full, closed note and timed. I like at least 5 per subject is my sort of general rule of thumb. I just updated the code. So now if you can use it for SARX. If you're UBE, more than that, because you need to see a whole variety of, more issues. So UBE essays, you should do like 10 per. Yeah, and then issue spotting more. In the last couple weeks of my free study schedule, I'm going to drop the study schedule into the chat. And I think we can attach it to the email that we send out tomorrow. Please don't email us, though, asking for it, because we will send it out. The emailer asking us for the recording, just because my team, we get so bogged down with that stuff. We will send it, I promise, and we will send it tomorrow. But let me see. I am going to drop the study schedule in the chat so you can grab it from there. There's one for California, one for UBE. And read the directions. There's like very detailed instructions on how to use it. Okay, so, and for the full mock exam, the first weekend of February, I'm talking about mock MBE and MPT MEE. It's a full mock exam, 2 full days. If you signed up for the PTs, we aren't sending out reminder emails for the checkups. You just need to put them on your calendar and know when they are. All right, and then there's more questions in the chat. All right, everybody, I think that's it. You don't see it's not a link. I dropped the actual PDF. It's literally right above your comment. If somebody asked when you're done with the questions in UWorld, should you reset it to retake those questions? Or you can use new resources. Yeah, if you have other resources, then I might use those. But I think it's also good to go over the ones to like redo the ones you got wrong previously. In UWorld, you can do that. I don't know that you can do that in Adaptivar. I'm going to drop the calendar. They're literally in the chat. You just have to click on it. It's not a link, it's an actual PDF. And they're in there. I see them. And we'll attach it to the email that we send tomorrow as well. So if you are starting now, you should just be working from the 2-day schedule. So that's what you should be working from, just in general. And then somebody asked how they sign up for the mock exam. I'm going to put the link to that in the chat as well. Oh, Nadine, we're going to send it out tomorrow. So just get it in the email tomorrow. You know what? We'll put a link. It's actually not, I think it's not in there. Let me just double check. Oh, it's graded mock exam here. Somebody asked if my PT book is similar to the essay book. No, it's a little bit different. The PT book walks you through how to do the PTs, and then it walks you through, I think there's like 12 or 13 PTs where I walk you through, like you get my marked up file and library, and you get my marked up file and library, and then you get my step-by-step putting together of the PT. So my model answer, but I put it up step by step. Sorry, the person that's sending me all these messages about catching up, I need more specifics. So if you're in my course and need help, send me an email. I think that's all the same person. So so Sharon, the PT book is just a little bit different. It's not templates because it doesn't work that way. There are templates for the different PTs, but yeah. There are templates for like a closing argument, a memo, all of those things. There's templates in there, but it goes beyond because I'm actually walking you through a lot of different PTs in it. So I answered this already, but how many essays do I suggest practicing before the February exam? A minimum for California of 5 per subject plus issue spotting more. So a minimum of 5 fully written, closed note and timed. And for UBE about 10 per, and then you're going to issue spot more. Yeah, Sharon, I do cover all the possible PTs. Yes. The code cannot be used for the essay check-ins because it has to be for 199 plus. So if you were to buy like the checkups plus the quick sheets or something, then you could do that. If you're not in my course, yes, send me an email, but it's a lot harder because then what you're really asking for is tutoring. And like, that's something that, yeah. So send me an email. I'll see what I can do. The mock exam that we do is going to take place is due by the end of the first weekend in February. No, that's okay. Yeah, sorry. This session is being recorded. And the name of the Civ Pro MBE, here, I'm just going to put a link to the Civ Pro book in the chat. So there's the link. I can put in the email, yes, the mock exam link, yes. And Sally, are you asking for the register for the PT course or the book? Somebody asked, does a PT book match the YouTube videos? It doesn't match it precisely. I mean, some of it, there's some copy, there's some duplication, but no, it doesn't. There's much more in the course than there is on YouTube. And somebody asked for the PT course. I'm putting it in the chat right now. All right, in the Q&A section, it gets a little chaotic. So I'm just trying to keep up because there's questions all over the place. Okay, yeah, Sally there. I just gave you the link, Sally. Only in February for the mock exam, yeah, you can submit it earlier than that, but you don't have to. And no, the discount code doesn't apply. It does apply to SARX UBE, yes. The essay checkups, some of them are essays that are assigned in the schedule so that you're kind of getting ahead. So you're not doing extra work. They are assigned, but it's generally not ones that you have already done. But even if it is, it's okay. Yeah, there's definitely not a YouTube video for all of the high-end. There's not YouTube videos for all of the PTs. There's definitely not total overlap. If you purchase the bar essays, SARX is separate. SARX is its own thing. All right, everybody, good luck studying. Best of luck to all of you studying. Thanks for joining me. Just as a heads up too, we have a PT workshop this coming Tuesday where I'm going to walk you through some strategies. So it's free. And then I'm also doing a session like this in February. So look out for the emails. We're going to send out an email tomorrow just with a follow-up as well. And let us know if you have any questions, if you need anything. Thanks, everybody. Bye. And the person that just asked in the Q&A, Mastering the PT, UBE plus checkups. It's the course, the UBE course, plus the checkup sessions. The 2 PT checkup sessions is what is included. Where it's a 3-hour proctored session where you're going to do 2 PTs, and then we review. The free workshop next Tuesday is the PT. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.